Hi, I'm Garm1, and this is Midgardia's cool crowdfunding show. I'm here today with Jason Blower. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Garm. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. So, you're here to tell us about your Alberta Perpetual calendar, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I'm running a Kickstarter right now. I have a goal of 3,200, and we're pretty close already on it, which is great. Um, it is a 12-month perpetual calendar, and so those that don't know what a perpetual calendar is, it's a calendar that kind of just runs through the dates of the month rather than the dates in the day of the year. Of course, because of the way the calendars work, that like it's always shifting. And as like kind of a small entrepreneur, um, calendars are a really tough thing to have as a product because they have such a short shelf life. Um, and unless if you can sell them in that period and at a volume large enough that you can actually print it at a reasonable rate, um, it's kind of tough. So I went with a perpetual calendar. Um, that way I could sell it at any time of the year and any year and just kind of work through the print run. Um, and so I decided to focus on Alberta landscapes. Um, I have a pretty good reputation of doing a lot of like cityscapes, particularly landmarks of Edmonton or like Calgary, and I have some Vancouver and Toronto pieces as well. Um, and so the Alberta one was just kind of expanding and maybe touching bases of both like my Calgary and Edmonton audience as well as a broader Alberta audience. Um, and it was actually a project idea I had maybe around 2013, 2014 that I was going to do these 12 landscapes of Alberta. And, um, you just kind of go wherever their entrepreneurial wind takes you. Um, and so I've kind of been delayed over a few years. I did like a couple of paintings in one year and then a couple in the other year, and I sold those for a number of years. And then I've kind of slowly added a few more. And I think the pandemic kind of opened up a window where I wasn't on the clock for the next thing, that I was able to sit down and punch through four or five of the last paintings. The very last one I did in January here. And so I was all prepared, and so I put it all together, and now I've launched the Kickstarter to do the printing.
Right on, right on. And your art is fantastic. It's a very eye-catching kind of style.
Oh, thanks. I like to think of it as kind of a mid-century modern meets a bit of a folk arty look. It's kind of very graphic, and it's a simplification always of everything that I kind of draw. Um, and it's approachable and it's fun. It's not dark. It's not trying to capture all realism or really a sunset or anything like that. It's just really kind of direct.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So you mentioned that calendars are kind of a difficult product to work with. So why make a calendar then?
Because people have asked for it many times. Um, I had previously actually done one other calendar, um, and it was kind of a mini one. It was only about so big, and because I also work as a freelance illustrator, I kind of used it as half something I could sell, and the other half, well, actually, it's more three-quarters, I used as a promotional item that I sent out to art directors and stuff. Um, but people always like calendars. Even in today's age where you can have everything on your phone with alarms and everything else, I think people like to see digital calendars aren't quite like a physical calendar where you can actually look and see what perhaps your week or your month looks like, right? And just like, oh, that's right. Tommy's birthday is in 3 weeks from now, or next weekend, or the weekend after. I got to remember to get a present or make sure that we go for dinner or whatever it is. So I think that they give a really good snapshot, and calendars have obviously been one of those things that have been around for decades and decades of actually probably centuries, think of it, um, of something that is a nice mixture between something of utility but also beauty. whether that's like photos of places you've been or photos of places you want to go, or nowadays you can print, family photos all together on calendars and such. So
Right on. And on a physical calendar, you can draw a cute little heart around your partner's birthday, which is
that's
always
right.
nice. Yeah,
And Valentine's Day.
and Valentine's Day. Yeah,
That's right.
gotta make sure to remember those.
Yeah, anniversaries. Those are also good too.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the like backing tiers that you've got going on?
Okay, sure. I really kind of keep it simple. I have obviously just a tier for a calendar. I also am offering all the images that are in the calendar as prints as well, and I have two tiers that are for the two different sizes that I generally offer. Um, and then going up from there, as a special thing that I do sell occasionally, but is canvas prints of all these landscapes, as well as um, I have some very wide landscape paintings that I've done that I offer as prints and canvases as well. And starting, I believe, this weekend, I have two new wide landscape prints that I've sketched up, and I'm going to kind of work on them and use that also as a mechanism of promotion of like, oh, I got a little bit of this done today, and this is the progress on it. Ta-da! Here's the final new landscape for that tier. And so, of course, these bigger pieces become a larger. Um, you may only need one or two of them to push you over the edge, or maybe even fund a project. Um, and then the final tier that I have is actually a custom piece of artwork. Um, so I often kind of mix together um, things and people's memories or places, and I kind of mix them together into one kind of picture. But I can essentially do just about anything somebody would want for a painting, and so that's like the big ticket item. And all these tiers are all around 20 to 25% discounts on all my regular offerings, and each tier gets all the calendar as well, and all the tiers. So
Right on. Yeah, no,
yeah.
those super wide landscapes are sick. It's like what,
Oh,
4 feet
thanks.
wide?
The canvas ones or the paper ones are, yeah, they're 4 feet wide by about 15 inches high, and the canvases are 8 feet by 2 feet. So
That's
I,
like
I
that's like a centerpiece for your living room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I've always kind of thought that like you always need to give your customers options. And that's why as my general business model is always to offer things from as small as a $2 magnet to a $2,000 custom piece or $2,000 living room piece. So um, always try to give the options but value, but also not let things get to be endless where you end up customizing everything for people and you're using so much time up doing customizations that you you waste probably time and money in that regard.
Yeah, the life of the creative is trying to find that balance.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, right on. This looks like a lovely project, and I know our lovely viewers cannot actually see the art. Please click the link below. Um,
Please, please.
yeah, it's good stuff, and it's very nice to see lovely Alberta. I do adore this place most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I, I I've always been a big proponent of like there are great things in other places around in the world, and they're wonderful. You can go visit there, you can go live there if you want to, if those are the things that you so desire. But I think that there's still so much opportunity for growth in Alberta in so many aspects that if somebody's looking for a way to build something, um, Alberta is a great place to do it. Edmonton or Calgary or any of the cities, and kind of start something new, right? Um, I try to think of. Are you familiar with the Ritchie brothers?
The name is familiar.
Yeah. So they are a very large auction house.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, I know
yeah.
'em.
But they started off as a small general store in Edmonton. And like they have a building at Fort Edmonton Park. But like they started something and it was small. And, you know, about a century and so later, it's a very giant, large company. So starting something and just being persistent and taking time will grow into something eventually. It's just that persistence and that refinement and changing because obviously they've they're no longer a general store. They are an auction house, right?
Yeah, they've
Um,
got that huge lot on the south side there with all the like construction equipment and stuff in the yard.
exactly, right? But they catered to farmers.
Yeah.
And farmers at a certain point needed equipment or needed to sell equipment. And so they looked at that as an opportunity and said, okay, well, there's lots of other stores. These are bigger ticket items. Why don't we help the farmers with this that nobody else really seems to have any ability to do? And, you know, Bob's your uncle.
Right on. Well, Jason, it's been lovely having you on.
Thanks for having me on there, Graham.
And yeah, for those of you watching at home, go click the link, get yourself a nice perpetual calendar. It'll be useful for every year, unless our calendar gets drastically changed somehow. Um, and yeah, it's some lovely art of Alberta. Check out my wonderful, picturesque homeland.
Thanks. That's awesome.
And night, everybody.